Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Elder Scrolls Lore. And now, strangely enough, something we really haven't talked too much about on this channel are the Ayleids, and really anything that surrounds their history or lore, anything really about them. So today we're going to be talking about Umaril the Unfeathered. And now essentially, I know this is going to be somewhat of a shorter topic as well, but at the same time, I actually started Greedfall, so expect Greedfall to come out. I mean, today I have the first 3 or 4 episodes recorded. I just got to edit them all together and put that in as well. And essentially, yeah, let's just hop right into it. So, Umaril the Unfeathered was an Ayleid king who was also, or I guess, a sorcerer king as well, who ruled Tamriel and enslaved the human population. Now, Umaril was a half-elf. He was born as an Ayleid, and then he was also born to a divine father. His alliance with Meridia granted him immortality, and upon death, his spiritual form would inevitably live on and eventually return. Thus, Umaril would never know death, and essentially, he would gain Meridia's favor, and as well as her servants, I guess their servants, because Daedric princes technically don't have a gender, but they would get the Daedric servants of the Aurorans, and though much larger, he favored the ruin from afar, preferring to stay back and send his army to attack and weaken his foes before he would risk direct combat, which is kind of strange considering he is immortal. I mean, I don't know on that point, but Umaril was one of the few kings, and one of the last actually, to survive the war with Alessia in the First Era, and essentially the only person who was able to challenge him directly would be Pelennor Whitestrake. And Pelennor went on a massive conquest and moving south, and eventually was able to challenge Umaril himself, and the two went on for a single combat. And now essentially, it must be noted that Umaril did prefer ranged combat, so despite all his skill as a warrior, Pelennor eventually would slay him, and Pelennor himself would later be killed and would be torn apart and dismembered by the Aurorans. Morahouse took Pellennor's severed head after the Battle of Umaril and spoke with it for hours, and Pelennor would later tell him that Umaril would eventually return, and that he could no longer protect Cyrodiil as well, because Pelennor, had a severed head. And now, Morehouse was able to do this with the ability of Foresight of Death, and so he was able to speak with the dead head. So, essentially, now we're going to fast forward up to the Third Era, because that's when Umaril does return, and he returned to life during the Oblivion Crisis, and it's speculated that he was able to do so because he was bound to the Colored Rooms, which was Meridia's realm in Oblivion. His specific goals were unclear, but they appear to be striking back at the Nine Divines, and this is evident because once he returned in the Third Era, he commanded his Aurorans to sack the Temple of Dibella in Anvil and the Temple of Mara in Bravil. Now, when the Divine Crusader learned of this, aka the Hero of Kavach, he learned of Umaril's return. An elderly prophet in Anvil was then sent over to find a new champion, and eventually the Crusader would gather the Crusader relics originally used by Pelennor to destroy Umaril's form, and with the prophet's guidance, the Crusader went on to find something which Pelennor did not. And essentially, he found the blessing of Talos, and Talos didn't live at the time, obviously. He was in the Second Era and the early Third Era, but with the blessing of Talos, the Divine Crusader was not only able to defeat Umaril on the mortal plane, but he was able to follow him into the spiritual plane, where the half-elf finally was slaughtered. Now, that is all we really have. There's not too much on Umaril, but I mean, I feel like this is a decent start to hop into maybe a bigger topic with the Ayleids. There's something that don't get too much attention. At least I haven't covered too much on this channel, so I want to dive further into it. I want to see what I can find, and I want to see if we will eventually have them come back later on in the game. I don't know, because they did appear as whites in Elder Scrolls Blades, but I mean, they're dead. The whites are dead, so maybe we'll get them back. I don't know. But with that, like I said, today we don't have too much today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a small little tidbit of lore. I actually have been enjoying doing these little tidbits of lore because I feel like there's not too much coverage on them, and they're quick and easy, and at the same time we still get a decent amount of lore with that. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you're new to the channel, I mean, I hope you liked it and consider liking this. And as always, if you want more content like this, please consider subscribing. And then for those who are returning, I hope you enjoyed this. Give it a like, smash that like button. It really helps more than you think. And yeah, I want to make I'll do this too. I want to make a big shout out to Aries for allowing me to use his music in my videos. He's a phenomenal guy. I absolutely love him. And as always, yeah, I think that is it for this. I believe that is it. So I will see you all around. Peace. If you just happened to stumble upon this video and enjoyed, maybe consider subscribing. If you are a returning subscriber and you enjoyed, please hit that like button. It really helps way more than you actually think it would. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Peace.